Africa has been very good to our fund. Like many investors who arrived late in the game, I arrived in our pension fund only in July of 2007, a lot of the good investments had been placed by people who preceded me. And fortunately, one of my predecessors was from Kenya and had a very early insight into the benefits of long-term investing in Africa. Of course, ours is a global fund. Of the approximately $39 billion in our fund, we are in 192 countries in terms of people, and we may pay pension benefits to any country where a UN employee might choose to retire, which means we have to provide benefits in every country that belongs to the United Nations system. That gives us an immediate and early need to have investments in Africa to generate cash flow for people who work in the UN who want to go home and retire in comfort in Africa. Our philosophy for investing in Africa is not very different from our philosophy in investing anywhere else in the world. We're an old-fashioned 60-40 pension fund by DNA. 60% equity is general target, 40% fixed income, and some other things. Over the years, we have diversified our portfolio to include some real return alternative assets. And Africa seemed to be a very good place to start that because in the public equity space, a very large fund, and I think ours is just at the bottom rung of large, can sometimes run into liquidity issues buying enough common stock to make the needle move any direction. We found that a private equity investment had a number of advantages in getting us in on the ground floor in well-researched projects that would generate a return. One of the things I hear constantly, because I am from the United Nations, is, oh, can we fund a hospital or an important road or something like that? And the answer is, we're not a charity. Our fund is built up by monthly payroll deductions from staff members who work at the UN or any of 24 other agencies, funds, and programs, such as the World Food Program, UN High Commissioner for Refugees, UNDP, World Food Program, etc. And our duty is to make a satisfactory return on those monies. So we don't invest simply because it sounds like a socially valuable project. That being said, there are many times that a project that is of value to the community can also generate a profit. And in Africa, our private equity investments do seem to hit both of those buttons. Our first private equity investment for the whole pension fund actually was in Africa because we chose to go along a socially responsible route and partnered with IFC. And so that was our first beginning in private equity, and it's showed us that being a private equity investor that demands a decent rate of return isn't necessarily being one of those greedy speculators. So again, although we are definitely a profit-oriented fund, we do follow the UN Global Compact, and we do try to see the social impact of our investments where possible. Other than private equity, we have the usual fixed income, public equity, and commodities investments in our portfolio. And as I said, fortunately, we were in early enough to reap the benefits of what has been a period where Africa seems to have been doing better than the rest of the world. Another unique thing about our fund is that 90 to 95% is internally managed. We very rarely hire outside managers because the sense is that the time span of our investment is too long to make a great incentive for the more short-term participants or employees of banks. We do make exceptions, and that's where somebody has the power and the knowledge to deliver returns in an asset class where we don't necessarily have the expertise. And in that regard, one of our early outside managers was in the emerging markets area and in Africa emerging markets investments. And again, because we don't feel that we have the expertise to look at every country in detail, this is one area where we felt it was our fiduciary duty to hire outside talent. But in general, Africa has been a very good uncorrelated return in our portfolio, and I think that among the areas of the world where we invest, we have a really well-balanced portfolio, and I think is showing signs of the accelerating growth rate in Africa and the promise of good things to come.
Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.